do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Welcome back to Reality Check. We're now in sort of a normal Wednesday scene here on Reality Check WURD. We just got out of our special Wednesday edition. We did that Council of State Governments panel discussion on reparations. So just unpacking that in a very intelligent way. And, you know, obviously we can't cover the whole conversation or every piece of it in just 90 minutes, but we did the best that we could. And we'll just continue to just have these conversations and not just talk about reparations, to talk about how much like we want reparations or we wish we had reparations. Like, okay, well, what is that? What is that exactly? What does that look like? What would be a reparations framework? We don't have enough of that discussion. Like, things need to be structured. We need to get in a direction where we're structuring things, being very deliberative about it. And that's the whole purpose of having those reparations discussions, if you didn't notice already. Just adding much more texture to it and some more structure, and just understanding exactly what that should look like, what's out there, what policy is being worked on. There's a little bit of reparations that's already been passed in a few places. So, you know, lessons learned from that, right? How can we replicate that? Or is there things we can borrow from that? So appreciate everyone listening in, and we'll just continue. I promise you, we will continue to have that conversation. Also, don't forget to join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we're celebrating West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. Tiffany Bacon is the host of that. She'll be broadcasting live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The next stop is West Oak Lane at the West Oak Lane Senior Center, 7210 Ogont Avenue. Win concert tickets, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your WURD membership on site. It's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour, and that is at West Oak Lane Senior Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Friday, August 20th. Please, everyone, to keep yourself safe and keep everyone else around you safe, please mask up. Wear your mask. I'm not talking about half mask below your nose. I'm like full, you know, like this. You know, like Bane out of Batman or Darth Vader mask around your, you know, like not seeing too many people still doing. I thought y'all like stopped doing that since last year, like the mask below nose thing. I'm like, who does that still? Like, really? So please mask up fully and get vaccinated as well, especially before you start going out to functions like these. Let's go to the phone lines, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Let me start with Maurice out of Southwest Philly.
How you doing, Charles?
A reality check. What's up, Maurice?
Listen, I like how you threw in the Death Star part, because that was the most important part of your conversation. Reparations is more than money. Reparations is no redlining. Reparations is voter registration and stopping the Voters Act. That all is reparations. The money is actually the last thing on the list. But people don't understand it. Everybody thinks reparations means they're going to get a magical check like them preachers be saying when they pray for you. It's going to just come in the mail. See, we got to understand that we both must have both houses to even get reparations, not this little fake both houses we have now. I mean full control of both houses to get reparations. And that means that we have to vote to get reparations. So anybody that says they don't want to vote or not down with voting, then they don't want no reparations. See, people got to know the law, and we should have ourselves already settled on exactly how we want this thing dished out to us, and not a big question marks on who get what, how it's going to be given, this and that. We don't have ourselves together to even receive reparations yet. And if we do get that kind of money back, whatever it is, Do we know how to build on it, or we just going to go out and buy stuff that we don't need instead of buying? That's the problem that I have with reparations, because people actually don't know what it means. You understand what I'm saying, Charles?
Exactly.
I'll leave it at that and let you handle the show. You're doing a good job today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Maurice. Very, very, very good thoughts. You're absolutely right. Yeah, reparations is the end of racism. Full stop. That's it. That's what we're going for. Ubaid out of Black Bottom calling in for a reality check. Ubaid?
Yes, sir, Mr. Ellison.
Hey, what's happening?
Well, first of all, reparations means repair. But anyway, listening to the panel, it seems like all were inclusionists, and none included our ancestors' 6 attempts to acquire freedom. So I'd like to introduce 4 points from a separatist point of view. I'd like to thank the brother for introducing the word, one of the panel members, for introducing the word autonomy. For to remain governed by the same flesh that created the MAPA is folly, which is why our ancestor Paul Robeson was going to the World Court with "We charge genocide." The World Court is why Dr. Potter's concept of people who will do what was done to Black Wall Street will do again to us. Plus, the World Court will make the 14th Amendment moot. And why Malcolm X, second point, why Malcolm X was also going to the World Court, because if we stay under white governance, we will continue to breed those who will say Toby instead of Kunta, and the assimilationists who have a terminal case of post-traumatic slave syndrome will backbite at your refusal to live in the shared kitchen with them. Reparations is repair. Therefore, we will need our own land to build our own hospitals, to heal ourselves by our means and our needs. It is the evening of the playing field. With our own land, we can manufacture and build, which will allow us to compete on the world open market. For with our own land acquired with the approval of the indigenous natives, will also give us a platform to link hands with our family across the water and throughout the diaspora. With the claimants being, as you guys were talking about, who is accessible, the claimants being those whose ancestors arrived before 1900, which is 40 years after the landing of the...
I have issues with sort of the... and Brother Ubaid, I think you're making some fine points. In certain places and other places, I'm having... It's hard to envision separation or full separation within, like, this current continent. Even as you were talking about holding hands with indigenous folks, like, that's still going to be a recipe where you're even going to create tensions with them. I just don't... I'm having challenges kind of seeing how that happens realistically. I just, I don't know. And then, on top of, okay, well, you got to get into the bigger investment of how you defend that space. Because, you're going to talk about, you get your own pieces of land. And you just said it, too, like how Dr. Potter said it during the reparations discussion. Like, you get things given to us or that we build or allowed to build in a certain space, they can be taken away from us. So it's like, okay, well, what are the legal protections? What are even the military type protect? If you say conceivably come up with a separatist type, your own land, piece of land or state, well, then you got to have the military, you got to have the army, the defense forces to defend that, to keep that in. So are you prepared? That has to be, that's something I never hear people talk about or even, considering that, like, okay, if you had a separatist black nation within the United States, okay, how y'all going to defend it from the most powerful military on the planet, the United States military? How are you going to defend that? And the most armed, the most civilian armed nation on the planet too. How are you going to defend that? How are you going? I mean, it can't just be every black citizen owns a gun and that'll be enough. It won't be. So it's just it's a lot of interesting logistical. I think it's a fascinating conversation, but it's a lot of interesting kind of logistical challenges and problems and operational problems. And let's kind of think about, like, realistically what can happen now. the composition of a government, like us having a white controlled government is really determined by the extent to which if we're all 100%, I keep telling people like in Philadelphia, if 100% of black people voted in the city of Philadelphia, which clearly does not happen, or if just 100% of everyone registered in the city of Philadelphia voted, you'd have a much different type of Philadelphia government. You wouldn't have a government that's as sloppy and sinister and nefarious and corrupt as a Philadelphia government. You wouldn't, because you're having 70-80% of the city's residents voting all the time. So it all depends on what we do or how much that the composition of a government is the extent to which people are participating in that process that's been set up. And if we're, I don't know why y'all keep expecting high performing government, but then only like 20 to 30% of y'all showing up at elections. Like, I don't get that. Like, it defies all logic. But thank you, Brother Ubaid. Let me go to Abdul Jabbar out of West Philly calling in for a reality check.
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, Charles?
Hey, good afternoon. All right.
Okay. I'm very glad that you took my call right after you said that. First of all, to even say, how can you have a black I don't know what your words were. You said black separation without having a black military. I mean,
right.
you have to have one before you have the other. So my thing is, it is possible, and also I believe that we still would have corruption in the city of Philadelphia if the majority of black people voted, because we still don't outnumber the amount of white people that are in the city of Philadelphia. We are still a small number in comparison.
But the thing is, we don't know, Abdul Jabbar. We don't know, because only less than 30% of us turned out. So we don't know how little corruption we'd have. I think it would be much dramatically different and less corrupt. In fact, I believe that. When you have higher participation, and the science bears that out, and the history of politics bears that out, you have higher participation, you have less corruption, because the higher the participation means that there's an automatic demand for transparency and for performing and government performing at optimal levels. So, but we don't know, because people just refuse to vote at the high. I'm not people patting themselves on the back. Oh yeah, we got 30% voter turnout. Like what? Like nah. You want optimal government? 80-90% turnout, y'all.
But you know why people feel the way they do about voting? Because they look at the history of this country. Of the city of Philadelphia, and they see that there's been a concerted effort to fail our people constantly. How do you close all of the schools where we are? We are already struggling with a poor quality education. Then they close all the schools, or the majority of them. And the ones that are left open, they're performing poorly. So my last statement is this: we need to be pulled out of the credit system. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. That's another way of giving us reparatory compensation by us not having to be in those systems when we apply for loans.
I agree with that. We've been talking about that off and on here too. Thank you for saying that. You won the money. You won the money with that. Yes. Like the scam, the hustle that is credit rating and credit scoring. Like it's a total scam. But we sign on to it. Folks be signing on. I see black folks on like Instagram and stuff, like signing on to that system. It's like the worst, most predatory, racist system ever. And y'all be believing in it. I'm like, I agree with Abdul Jabbar on the money with that point. Let me go to Jay out of Southwest. Jay out of Germantown, who's calling in for a reality check. Jay?
Good afternoon, sir. Very intriguing conversation. I chimed in at, maybe about 15 minutes ago when I heard the caller before the last one. Yeah. And I think he was sort of close to the direction that needs to be taken. I've done a lot of independent research on this topic, and I think we're skipping over, because the brother spoke about the international piece. and it's going internationally.
Yeah.
As we know, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights declares that every child at birth has a right to
Wait, were you saying the brother who was that? The brother that called was talking about separation?
Well, I think it's more so about bringing this to an international form.
Got it. Because he wasn't saying anything about international. I just want to be clear about that. He was talking about separation within the United States. I'm all for, however, I love that conversation. Black diaspora, because we got lots of black land in the Caribbean, the African continent. Like we could be having that. That's actually kind of a realistic goal. You know, if we're talking about like doing that, but but go ahead.
Yeah, but if we're speaking to reparations, there's two sorts of reparations. There's reparations given to an individual from an individual or a company, and then there's reparations that are paid by a defeated state to the conquering state. We never declared ourselves as a state. We haven't applied to nationality law. And I spoke to you a few years ago about this topic of nationality, and you seem to be somewhat in agreement that we never proclaimed the nationality. Those of us who were released from slavery in 1865, we never came before the world body and declared ourselves a people. And I think that's the issue. I think that's the number one.
That is a good point. That's a very good point. It's something, it was a question, in fact, Jay, that I had on my list of questions in preparation for this panel. We never got around to it. Like this needs, I do agree with what you're saying there, like raising it has to be an international issue. I mean, there are levels of crimes that have taken place that should be brought before an international tribunal, should be brought before The Hague. With the United Nations, and we just haven't. It should be a much more aggressive effort in that direction. Go ahead, finish up, Jay.
In the Jewish state, the Japanese state, etc., they all formulated themselves as nations, as a political body politic. They weren't a motley crew of individuals going to the government begging for reparations or restitution. It was a formalized way in which they had done that. And there's a lawful and legal process to this. And I believe we're overstepping. We're so smart about the situation that we're stupid. We got to form as a nation like every other group of people. When the Greeks come here, the Italians come here, the English, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Arabians, the Indians, they're all coming from a body politic. And they formulate around that issue.
Yeah.
And that's my piece on it.
Thank you, Jay. I mean, you're right. But, like black people as a community, especially here, we really got to work on the unification piece. We're not very good at that. And so, like, if we're going to do that, like, kind of talking about in terms of this, like, community nation scale, so that, we have to, like, all be on the same page about those core demands. What are the 3, 4, 5 things that we all agree on that we know we want and that we need? That's one. But then two, like, we need to start like stamping out like these really silly, very unproductive tensions and battles and fights within our own community. Like the battles between Black Americans and Caribbeans and Africans. Black migrants are nearly 25% of the total U.S. Black population. There's a lot of Black people, and they're here. They're living here. They're not going anywhere in the United States. They're even blending with African Americans, with Black American families. Like, this all Black people. Like that whole argument, that whole conversation, we need to shut that down. Like, that's unproductive. You can't get to the nation building part or separatism, whatever, like what Ube was talking about. But with the point you made, Jay, I think is a cogent one, and it's something. It's a great kind of just conceptually, I think it's a goal. It's a real good goal. But we're not going to get there if we don't get rid of these little silly, very petty divisions, or divisions over, oh, you from here and I'm from there, the Philly Black folks versus DC Black folks, whatever, light skin versus dark skin. Like, we all Black folks, we all living through like the same and similar experiences, maybe in different ways, but we still all got the same enemy, and we're still being attacked by the same things. But we still caught up in these petty differences, Black men versus Black women, and it's just silly stuff. And it's like, and it's just taking up a lot of energy and a lot of space, and we can't get to that point where we're like acting as one on key core topics and issues and getting to and arriving at, key core goals. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but there's a lot of silly, petty tensions and conflicts that we really could be much better if we were to start working on eliminating them. I have to take a break. We'll be right back with more Reality Check.
In Pennsylvania, it's now illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, vapes, or electronic cigarettes to anyone under 21. Stores can get fined up to $1,000 for selling tobacco to someone who is underage. Know the law. Check IDs. Post your retailer license. Make sure only employees have access to tobacco products and only sell tobacco products to customers aged 21 and older. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Oak Street Health, Strawberry Mansion, is hosting a Seniors Day Carnival at 2301 North 29th Street, Philadelphia, PA, 19132 on Saturday, August 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Enjoy music, games, food, and prizes as we celebrate our teams and the reopening of our Centers for Community Activities and Events. Oak Street Health is a network of primary care doctors for adults on Medicare, and we welcome all community members to join in on the fun and check out our center. Food and prizes limited to $15 per person.
Build skills needed for employment through the Philadelphia Skills Forward Initiative, a free upskilling program for workers displaced by the pandemic, those whose jobs are at risk for automation, and Black and brown workers. Complete courses focused on digital literacy, career management, and professional skills for a successful career. Get started today at chamberphl.com.
WURD Founders Day. Don't miss our annual Founders Day live broadcast and celebration, Thursday, August 26th, honoring the life and legacy of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, featuring a very special broadcast of a ceremonial street naming for Dr. Lomax from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. at 1800 Wharton Street, the site of his first medical center. Hosted by Charles Ellison. The day will also include a series of virtual panels and conversations exploring health, wealth, and independent media. Start or renew your Forward membership on Founders Day at the special discounted rate of just $80. For more information about WURD Founders Day, visit WURDradio.com. WURD Radio Founders Day is brought to you by Pico, Keystone First, Bank of America, Ready Set Philly, Comcast, Brown's Family Shop Ride, Temple University, and Councilmember Kenyatta Johnson, 2nd District. Stand with WURD Radio, the only black-owned talk radio station in Pennsylvania. Did you know you can join the Forward movement and amplify voices of the black community as a digital member for as low as $5 per month? Visit membership at WURDradio.com or call 215-425-7875. We need you. Show your support. Start or renew your Forward membership today. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Black Talk Media. WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at Forward. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Welcome back to Reality Check. It's your daily dose of public affairs, politics, public policy, here on the home of Black Talk Media. I'm Charles Ellison. I'm the executive producer, host, creator of Reality Check, based in Washington, D.C., always coming at you from Washington, D.C., and also Philadelphia as well, covering national and local state politics, policy, all of those things, those conversations in between. Real quick, I wanted to take, before we go on to our next guest, I wanted to take Mamie out of University City, who's been waiting patiently for a reality check. Ms. Mamie, how are you doing?
Good morning, Brother Charles. I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to chime in on the conversation. I'm happy about the Founders Day under the legacy of Dr. Walter P. Lomax and his wife, Miss Beverly, and also the guidance of Sarah Reese Lomax. My whole thing is brilliant programming, and I really enjoy the subjects that have been coming across the airwaves. I am a member of NCOBRA, been a member since the 90s, and I am so happy that this is going to be an ongoing type of programming so that people can become familiar, and maybe even memberships can be encouraged, not only for WURD, which is the greatest thing that could have happened to our community, and the reparations movement and the galvanization of people behind it right now. It is excellent. Thank you, Brother Charles, and you stay well and be careful out there.
Yeah, I thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Mamie. And COBRA, one of those organizations I've reached out to, to include them in these conversations. So I don't know, for some reason, like, it's hard to connect. We can get Jessica. She's very easy to connect with and to, bring on this platform or in this program. I don't know, it's been my personal experience. I would love to, if you can find an easier way to connect with someone at NCOBRA, to be included in these panel discussions like CSG East. I would love to see. Maybe I'm missing, maybe I don't have the right contact information or number, but for some reason it's been a challenge with them, because I think one person was saying, wait, where's NCOBRA? And I'm like, I've been trying to reach out to them, and I don't know who to talk to or who will get back to me. I've tried that. So if you could, Ms. Mamie, cellison@wordradio.com, or email me, or have someone from NCOBRA reach out to me, email me, so we can set that up and facilitate that, because I want all those different voices in that conversation on reparations to be included, so we can continue to have a good structured conversation like we did with the Council of State Governments just a few moments ago about that. Also, to what Ms. Mamie was saying, join WURD Radio on Thursday, August the 26th, for our annual Founders Day celebration. That will be honoring the life and legacy of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year, we'll feature a special live broadcast from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at a street naming ceremony for Dr. Lomax at 1800 Wharton Street. That is the site of his first medical center. The day will also include a series of virtual panels and conversations exploring health, wealth, and independent media, such as WURD. And there's a special Founders Day membership discount. Join or renew today for just $80. And you can help us continue Dr. Lomax's legacy by supporting Progressive Black Talk Media. For more information, go to wordradio.com and click on the Founders Day banner. We look forward to seeing you. I will be there. On Thursday, August the 26th. In fact, I'll be broadcasting from there live from 1800 Wharton Street. So that will be my first WURD event on site since the pandemic. So it's not post-pandemic yet, but safe enough. I will be at 1800 Wharton Street broadcasting live from there. So I'm looking forward to seeing folks. And I definitely want to see you all masked up and vaccinated before you arrive. Okay, so just to keep everyone safe. Joining us now is Shannon Morales. She is the founder of Trebaya, which is formerly Echo Me Ford, and she was recently featured in a Philadelphia Citizen column in their Business for Good column, Trebaya. And you know what, Shannon, you please correct me on this. My Spanish is not good at all. but please correct me on the pronunciation. But you were in the PhiladelphiaCitizen.org, recently featured in their Business for Good column. Go to the PhiladelphiaCitizen.org. We do partner with them every week to bring you this citizen segment. She joins us by Skype on audio here on Reality Check. Shannon, how are you doing this afternoon?
Yes, and it's Trabaja.
Trabaja.
You had it right the second time.
Thank you. Okay,
yeah.
I just wanted to, and you know that my instinct was like Trabaja, like Baja, California, which I've been to. So yeah, exactly. And I appreciate that. What is Trabaja anyway? Talk to us about that. Just kind of your 30-second elevator pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had recently changed the name in the midst of the pandemic when I went full-time entrepreneur, and it was the shift of the business model to be more focused on a community, predominantly Black and Latinx, who are enthusiastic about transitioning into tech and startup careers. So that is what we are today. We're a talent marketplace. We create pathways into tech for non-traditional tech professionals. So whether they're graduating from boot camps or, are transitioning from a whole different career, we create that support system as well as resources to help them, find those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. And, talk about that transition into Echo Me Forward, eventually Trabaja, because you were at one point working in the innovation tech sector space, an Afro-Latina professional. You weren't having such good experiences in that space. And you're not the only one. I hear a lot of people who, talk about the lack of diversity, the lack of inclusion in that space.
Right.
And so you had like real firsthand experience with it. And this is what inspired you to come up with Trabaja eventually. But talk about that experience, how it inspired the work that you do now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually worked in finance right out of college. My degree was in finance, and I went into financial planning and analytics. But finance in general is just a very male-dominated industry. And I worked really, really hard to just even get my foot in the door within finance, to really not see any advancement opportunities because there were, gatekeepers that were, stopping me from getting to where I wanted to be. And I very quickly realized that it wasn't just finance. After I took a 3-month internship in Silicon Valley, I was introduced to this tech and innovation scene that was unlike any other that I have had experienced on the East Coast. And so I decided to work in finance within technology, within a tech company, but I realized that it was the same. It's not about, what industry you're in. It's really about those who are holding, are holding the keys to those opportunities and who they're giving those opportunities to. And so I realized I needed to be in a space, or either create the space where, people like us, or at least people that, want to give more opportunities to those who have been undersupported, are actively committed to seeing things change. And so that's how Trabaja started, or what it was, Echo Me Forward was really, how can we leverage people and their experiences, as well as, the positions that they're in, to make sure that we're helping others, as they're climbing, throughout these industries.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, using that experience, to create Echo Me Forward, then Trabaja, what's that been like, as you're helping, sort of, how would you describe kind of like in a word what you do? Some people may say it's like professional coaching. Other people might say it's career development. But there's something much more to that. It's something much more transformative, I think. That you're doing. You're trying to transform a whole sector and an industry. I guess at first, before we get into that, let's get into that general conversation about how important, really absolutely how crucial and critical on an existential level, inclusionary hiring and employment retention practices in the innovation sector, how just so crucial that is, right? I don't feel like that sector can really reach its full potential without, being as aggressive in the diversity and inclusion practices. And trying to get as much of a diverse workforce as they possibly can.
Right, absolutely. I think, like you said, it's very transformative because we're changing mindsets. We're changing the way that things have been traditionally done, and we're kind of writing our own narrative and our own script on how things should be handled.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. I got you, Shannon. We actually got a point where you're taking care of business. You're picking up the little ones, so we do appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I might have missed what you said.
Oh no, I was just saying you were still going, but let's transition over to like how the business is going right now. Like this business model, it's proven to you that something like this can be done. But how are you doing revenue wise, and how are you doing in terms of like the success that you're experiencing right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have realized is that this, what we're doing is really, it's such a larger problem in itself. Millions and millions of people have been affected by just everything, systemic racism and not being allowed in these not being allowed a seat at the table or even having the opportunity to get their foot in the door. So I realized it couldn't be done just by myself. I needed to find a way to connect with communities, established communities and networks and nonprofits that have been working on the ground floor, whether they're, training the talent, and we partner with them to make sure that after the talent is trained, that they then can transition into a supportive community like Trabaja to get, those career opportunities and have ability to, interview and things like that. But then also making sure that they're putting their best foot forward, whether that's coaching them on resumes and, personal branding and your LinkedIn profile, because that's so important. I got my first tech job on LinkedIn without even, submitting a resume. So all of these things are just extremely important. Our revenue is, we work not only with affiliate partnerships, but we also get paid with employers, by employers who are looking to diversify their talent pipeline, whether it's more from a strategical lens or it's from a hiring and sourcing lens. Or even now, more recently, we started to take this whole holistic like brand awareness approach where we curate Diversitech events for larger enterprises that want to hire and, get connected to the community on a larger scale. And so we started to do things like that. One of our first events that is going to be more of an exclusive Diversitech hiring event is with Comcast, which is happening September 15th, the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month, and so excited about it. They have over 300 roles in tech on the East Coast, and our goal is really to make sure we're giving these opportunities to as many people in our community as possible.
For more information on Trabaja, you can go to Trabaja, that's TRIBAJA.co or trabaja.co. For more information and also sign up for their programs. One of the other things I'm thinking about too, Shannon, is, what are you telling young people who want to get into the tech or innovation sector, that space, how they should prepare for it or prepare for a career in that? Is it, one, just as simple as, okay, well, I need to take computer science when I go to college, or I need to take up coding? Is it just confined to those types of majors? Those types of professions. Can a person who's into the humanities or the liberal arts kind of jump into the innovation tech sector? Because we do get this impression sometimes that it's like, oh, you just have to have like a math or science or STEM focused or STEM oriented degree to get into a space like this.
Mm-hmm. And that also is something that we're trying to change within our community, is the mindset, or the understanding of, how can you enter into this space. And like I said, my degree is in finance. It's nothing technical at all. Mm-hmm. And you can be a career changer. You can have a marketing degree or a degree that's completely outside of, a computer science or information technology degree. What a lot of professionals do when they are doing that career transition is that instead they'll do, a boot camp, or they'll do some type of training program to upskill, something that they're missing, within the tech space. So you don't have to necessarily have a bachelor's degree in computer science. You can, go to a boot camp or a training program to upskill in the tech space. And so I guess the first thing I would say is just, start doing some exploration. There's so much information out there. And I think what Trabaja does a really great job of is, curating a list of resources that are specific to our community that are really going to help them, because we don't want them to go and spend another $50,000 on another 4-year degree. We partner with boot camps that provide scholarships to underrepresented talent in tech who are looking for those programs. So definitely check out Trabaja. I mean, we really try our best to kind of curate a list of things that are super important right now, and then just continue to help guide professionals throughout their career journey.
Shannon, with Trabaja being Philly area based, I hear a lot of conversation about Philadelphia being like the one of these new emerging technology innovation hub or innovation sector hubs. And so, I mean, is Philadelphia really, do you feel like, what's your thought on that? Is it really embracing itself or moving forward or encouraging the growth of it being like a major innovation tech sector hub? And also what could be different about Philadelphia from other places is that there could be a very strong emphasis on Black, Latino, or really truly diverse tech sector, innovation sector leadership, right?
Right.
Like Philadelphia could kind of change the face of that. It could be different from like Silicon Valley and places like Northern California, Palo Alto, or even like, Austin or Boston or some of those other more, big name tech hubs. Philadelphia could be different because it is so like multicultural. It is so Black. I mean, there's a heavy Black presence. There's a heavy brown presence. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely think it is, trying to do Silicon Valley, but in a completely different and diverse way. And I'll just a little quick, tidbit is that I started my business, something like my business about like 5 years ago. And it was like my side hustle, but I started it in a completely different state. As soon as I relaunched and I decided to relaunch in Philadelphia, I received so many resources, so many grants and funding opportunities, so much access to potential clients, and just the amount of support that I received, from Philadelphia was just, it catapulted me to where I'm at today. So with the Philly Startup Leaders Accelerator programs and the support of the media that they give local founders and talent, I think that that's really, the difference that you see within the Philadelphia tech and innovation space. And they're just always willing to kind of jump on board and guide you. I think they are going to be, that diverse tech hub, and it's going to be very different than what Silicon Valley is. So if you are a founder or you are interested in the tech and innovation space, I would definitely start to network with, those leaders in the space, because they are available to you, and they, they're nonprofits. And so they're really focused on the impact that they can provide.
How is, real quick question here, Shannon, before we let you go, being a Afro-Latina, or, as people would say, a person of color in the innovation technology space, that requires a lot more emotional, mental, spiritual calisthenics than like a white person in that sector. It's like, how can you innovate, right? How can you innovate? Because genius and creativity is what's needed to be successful in the innovation sector, right? And so, but it's like, how can you be, even if you do enter that sector as a Black individual or as a Latino individual, it's like, how innovative or how creative can you be when you constantly having to address the racism in the sector?
I will say that, the George Floyd situation, although very, very sad situation in general, it really did open up a lot of opportunities for those who have already been doing the work to now do the work in a in a more impactful way where companies are actually committed because they have to be, because, you know, the future of work is going to be more diverse, and they have to have representation in these communities in order to continue to have longevity, right? It's not even so much about, yes, there's a social responsibility component, but now there's even a bigger, you know, business case for it. You know, how are consumers going to connect and engage with your products if you don't even have employees that are creating the products that are diverse? So I think it's an even bigger business case. And so they're starting to realize that they're far behind, you know, where the population in the U.S. is looking. It's, you know, going to be predominantly, you know, minority driven and by 2025. And these are all statistics that you can find online and Google search it and things like that. But the U.S. will be, you know, like I said, more minority driven, or it won't even be minorities anymore. It will be the majority in 2025. So they have to change, you know, how they're doing business and who they're employing.
That's right. No, we already saw that with the recent conversation over the census. We've been talking with Shannon Morales. She's founder, also president, CEO of Trabaja. For more information, go to Trabaja, TRIBAJA.co, Trabaja.co for more information how you can get involved. She was recently featured in the Business is Good column in the Philadelphia Citizen, Business for Good column in the Philadelphia Citizen. Go to the PhiladelphiaCitizen.org column entitled Trabaja for more there to read about her experiences and some of what we've been talking about during this conversation. Shannon, really a pleasure to meet you. So we got to keep up with what you're doing and have you back another time.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me, and so excited about what you're doing and how you're sharing information on, you know, your radio and TV show. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll have you back. Be safe out there. Thanks again. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. Let's take a break, and when we come back, more Reality Check. Phone lines are open. We go into our digital lifestyle segment with Steph Humphrey. That's going to be coming up next. And so if you have questions about the digital space and digital lifestyle, Steph Humphrey is your person for that. And we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with more Reality Check.
Enterprise Exterminators, located at 4943 Wayne Avenue, has been in business since 1976 and can eliminate whatever pest problems you have. Enterprise specializes in bed bugs, lanternflies, and termites. Call for your free termite inspection today. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Enterprise Exterminators, servicing Philadelphia, Delaware, and New Jersey. Call now, 215-849-7070. Ask us about the WURD and senior discounts.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
If you live in the city of Philadelphia, the rideshare company Lyft has an amazing program for people looking for work. Lyft Jobs Access provides free rides to job interviews, interview prep, and for the first 3 weeks of your new job. The Lyft Up program started in 2019 with the support of Goodwill Industries and United Way, but they also accept donations from the public as well. There are options to get a rideshare, a Lyft bike, or a Lyft scooter if they are available. It does take up to a week for your information to be processed, so give yourself some lead time to make your request. Visit Lyft.com, that's LYFT.com/LiftUp/programs for more information. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
WURD TV. We're streaming live video of this conversation right now. Tune in on YouTube at onWURD or on Facebook at forward. WURD TV. Black Talk Media. Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
This Tech Life segment being brought to you by Comcast. And Steph Humphrey joins us as she does regularly here on Reality Check to talk about all things digital, all things tech. And, you know, if you have questions about that space and about just your own digital lifestyle and etiquette and everything, and, you know, and if you want to jump into the profession as well, 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. Steph Humphrey, our in-house digital lifestyle expert. How are you doing, Steph? Good to see you.
I'm good. How's it going, Charles?
All right, good. You know, we just had Shannon Morales on of Trabaja. You know, she was talking about diversity, inclusion in the technology sector, innovation workforce. So I want to get your initial thoughts about that, too, before we get into some other topics. And, you know, kind of where we are right now with the state of diversity, because we had the big last year's social unrest moment in the wake of George Floyd. And technology companies, innovation companies, were really in the thick of that, in the fray. And now, you know, they've been trying to prove since then, see, we got more black people, more Latino people working for us. How's that been going, and what more do we need to do?
I don't think it's been going nearly fast enough. I think a lot of it has been optics, unfortunately. And I think the time of tech companies claiming ignorance and claiming not to be able to find diverse candidates and claiming not to be able to, you know, we're always looking, we just don't know where to go. And I think that time is over. So I think there needs to be a renewed focus on the numbers. And, you know, where are we? We need to look at the data. You know, you're saying that you want these things, you're claiming and making all these pledges and signing pledges to increase these numbers. We need to look at the data at this point and see where we really are, because I think if we did, we would see that we haven't gotten much further than we were, you know, last year before all this started. So it's time to just put up or shut up at this point.
Do you still hear stuff, you know, like before that big moment where, you know, tech companies claimed that they were opening the doors? It was always a conversation. The conversation always went like this: well, you know, we don't have enough black people who are in technology or who are STEM skilled. You know, we can't find them. It's like they're there. You know, so do we still hear that? We're like, it's just they're not in your social networks. You know, that's why.
I think folks are pivoting from that excuse to, you know, using because a lot of tech companies actually have faced a real backlash against some, you know, a lot of these new policies and things like that. So they're trying to sort of appease and you know, codify the folks they already have. They're still trying to chase those dollars. So it, you know, there's that point of it. A lot of these companies that are still in their startup phases still need to get this money. So that's a problem for them to, you know, now start trying to diversify their ranks and things like that when they're still going after the money. So it's a big problem still. I think companies do realize that they can't use scarcity as an excuse anymore, because it's been demonstrated over and over and over again that there are resources. There are you know, 100 and something HBCUs that all teach computer science, you know, so it's just like the excuses are going away. It remains to be seen, and again, we need to look at the data to see if the companies are now, you know, acting in accordance with the fact that the resources are there.
Yeah, it just seems like they're spending a whole lot of energy, and they're more creative about coming up with the excuses than they are with just diversifying your workforce. Just hire more folks. Right. Like, y'all spending all that energy on coming up with, oh, we can't do this, we can't. Well, how much time y'all putting into just hiring people?
Right, and I think they're shifting the focus onto culture fit. You know, that's the code for, well, why they don't hire more diverse candidates. That the code is culture fit, and they just weren't a good culture fit for our company. And culture fit may mean different, but it's not necessarily bad to not be exactly the same as everybody else that works at that company. So I think we may start to hear that term come up even more as they you know, as the other excuses start to fall away. You know, this is an excuse that you can't really argue because it's so subjective, but this is another one that another hurdle that we're gonna have to overcome.
That's interesting. Culture fit. You know, that could mean a lot of things.
It could mean a lot of things.
We don't want you coming in here with your dreadlocks.
Right.
Or you.
Well, and then too, they've a lot of companies have actually run with this concept of diversity. So they are like, well, diversity doesn't just always mean race. It can mean diversity of thought. It could mean, you know, neurodiverse communities. So which actually is necessary. But they're jumping on the idea of all of they're teasing out all of the different ways that employees can be diverse in order to not pick diverse candidates based on race, you know, because you can pick a diverse candidate based on the fact that they're conservative or the fact that they're, you know, Republican or the fact that they're anything. You can create diversity out of any set of qualities, you know, that don't necessarily have to do with race. So I've heard that happen a lot as well, where they're sort of teasing out these other very obscure, very niche ideas of diversity in order to not have to address the issue of racial diversity.
Interesting. So they're getting it twisted. Okay. So we're going to come back to that. I think it's a good conversation to keep coming back to occasionally. I'm glad I asked you. Switching subjects here. So we had like this really messy situation happen in Afghanistan. Literally, like within weeks, the Taliban overran that country. The U.S. is now in the process of, I mean, there are troops there, but they're just in the airport and they're trying to just get their folks out. There's about 10 or 15,000 Americans left, last checked, in Afghanistan trying to get out. Now there's a big conversation about the Taliban being recognized as a formal government of Afghanistan. The Chinese government actually earlier this week recognized them formally. They're keeping their embassy there in Kabul. So now is a conversation about, should we let the Taliban back on social media? What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's a tough call because Facebook, to their credit, I guess, has already banned the Taliban, had been banned the Taliban, and do not plan to allow the Taliban back onto their platform. We'll see how that goes if the United States actually does officially recognize them as the new government of Afghanistan. The problem, though, is that the State Department does not officially recognize the Taliban as a terrorist organization, but the U.S. Treasury does. So some of the social media platforms are going off of the State Department, and like YouTube, you know, in particular, had said they backtracked a little bit on this, but they had said because the Taliban is not officially recognized by the State Department as a terrorist organization, you know, we don't have cause yet to ban them. I think Twitter took a little bit of that same tactic, but you know, other platforms are saying, you know, because the U.S. Treasury does recognize them as such, you know, and because of their history and all of those different things, we will do it. But the problem is, you know, these platforms are a literal lifeline for the people in those countries. You know, it's the way that they can ask for help. It's the way that they can let the world know what's actually happening on the ground. You know, and in some of these countries, social media is the internet. There is no other internet available to them besides what they read and see and what they can communicate themselves on social media. So it's a very delicate balance to think about banning or not banning, because if you ban the Taliban's going to ban Facebook. So nobody gets access. If they don't get access, no one gets access, and this could be cutting a crucial lifeline to the citizens of that country.
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, does like a country like North Korea have a social media presence?
I don't believe they do. I don't even believe they allow those. And there are a lot of countries around the world. I mean, and it's funny because the UN actually declared the internet a human right back in 2016.
Yeah.
But there are still many countries that, you know, heavily restrict internet usage or ban the internet entirely in their countries. I don't believe that North Korea even has access to the internet at all, much less social media.
Interesting. Yeah, so it's like, okay, you give the Taliban access, but you won't give North Korea access. It's like, you know, just you know,
right?
Not a whole lot of difference. They're both fascist.
Right. And that's the thing. I think it's that State Department designation that's not there yet, and maybe the State Department will, you know, come around and follow suit at this point. Well, actually, I don't know, because now that they've taken over the government, can you declare them a terrorist organization if they're running the country? So. That's going to be interesting. It's really going to depend on how our government views the Taliban, to see how I think social media companies, the platforms, are waiting this out to see what our government does in recognizing them or not, to make a determination about how they're going to treat them online.
And it's fascinating because it leads into, you know, like the future of social media and how much overall government can control or will control social media, right?
Yeah, it's scary because, you know, you sent me that article about Cuba, and the fact that they are now setting up, you know, ways for people to report what they call, you know, instigation and everything, and that's so subjective. A country can claim anything to be instigation or insurrection or anything like that. So it's a very, very slippery slope once you start, you know, suppressing speech online, once the government starts suppressing speech online, because there's no real bottom for that.
Yeah. I gotta go back to watching. I gotta rewatch those different parts of Ghost in the Shell, and I really do. For those who don't know, it's a fantastic anime movie. Well, it depends on which part you watch. You know, so like the original Ghost in the Shell was better to me than some of the later ones. Which, by the way, I am excited. Speaking of anime, have you seen that Star Wars anime trailer? Visions?
I did not. No.
Oh, you should check that out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, for those who are like listening, I'm a big Star Wars geek, and I've been waiting for years for them to do Star Wars in anime. Like, because I know it would kill it. Like, I can't stand like these cartoons they've been making, these Star Wars cartoons.
Those are,
like, oh my gosh,
kind of 3D generated CGI-esque.
I mean, maybe it's for the kids, but it's not. It really doesn't do anything for my appetite. And they just yesterday they put out the trailer for Star Wars Visions. They're doing an anime. They got together with some Japanese anime studios, and I cannot wait. It's coming at the right time.
That sounds really interesting. Is that going to be on Disney Plus?
On Disney Plus, right?
Okay.
Check that trailer out though. When you look at the trailer, you're like, yeah.
I definitely will.
Like, yes.
Are you a Marvel fan?
I don't get too much into the Marvel DC thing.
Well, have you seen What If?
I have not seen that. I've seen the trailer. I do.
Yeah,
that looks hot.
It's pretty good. It is pretty good. Yeah.
I like the animation. Like I'm not. I like creative, and I'm a big anime nut, and so on. But I don't like heavy use of CGI. I don't like that.
Check out What If. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm a kind of gritty anime, kind of like, you know, like for Samurai Champloo, Afro Samurai. That was my jam.
Yep.
That kind of artwork. That's my jam. Yeah. So anyway, Steph Humphrey. I know I could tell, like, if Steph's in the digital stuff, I know she's on that level too. So Steph Humphrey, our in-house digital lifestyle expert, and Tech Life with Steph segment being brought to you by Comcast. Thanks again, Steph. Always good seeing you.
Always a pleasure. Take care, Charles.
All right, take care. Be safe. Okay, let's take a break. When we come back, phone lines remain open at 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900 here on Reality Check. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey there, beautiful. Have you had severe hair loss? Do you have a scalp disorder? Is your hair thinning around the edges and crown? If you answered yes to any of these questions, give us a call at 215-225-2442 to schedule a consultation with Babes Holistic Hair Salon located at 3117 North Broad Street. Babes Holistic Hair Salon is dedicated to improving your inner and outer beauty. This ad is brought to you by the North Broad Renaissance and Truist Foundation. Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. I'm Tiffany Bacon. I'll broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Our next and final stop is West Oak Lane at the West Oak Lane Senior Center, 7210 Ogons Avenue. Win concert tickets, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Come show your support and join or renew your WURD membership on site. That's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour at the West Oak Lane Senior Center from 10 a.m. until 12 noon on Friday, August 20th. WURD, showing love this summer.
The WURD Radio Neighborhood Love Tour is sponsored by Comcast and supported by Pico, Keystone First, and Ready Set Philly. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. Reality Check with Charles Ellison right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
All right, welcome back to Reality Check, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, WURDradio.com, WURD TV, WURD app. WURD is Progressive Black Talk Media. By the way, I want to thank Eric Nixon. He's on the board still. He's sitting in for Troy Wilmore today, and so his head is exploding over the fact that he did not know that was that heavy into anime and manga, into Japanese cartooning. But I have since I was a kid. You know, Star Blazer, Speed Racer, right? Ultraman, Voltron. Big Godzilla nut too, but Star Wars is my thing. I'm really excited about that. If for those of you who love Star Wars and you have Disney Plus, probably should be trying to get them to, you know, give an ad or something here on WRD. But they've got this wonderful. They just dropped a trailer yesterday of a wonderful. They're going to be doing it in anime, and if you're not familiar with anime, the Japanese have a special kind of cartooning that they do. Sometimes you see your kids watching it and you're wondering, oh, it looks different from the normal cartoons they've watched. And so they're going to be doing it. They got together with a bunch of Japanese artists, and it looks spectacular. I cannot wait until it comes out. I will be the first sitting down with my kids because I got them all into it as they were growing up. Anyway, let me go to the phone lines. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. There's another real good show, Afro Samurai. I also highly recommend that. That's probably on Netflix somewhere if you have it. I think Sam Jackson, right? Yeah, Samuel Jackson. He was like the voice of the brother who, some of the same folks who made Boondocks, some of that artwork involved in Afro Samurai. That's a real good, it's literally about a black samurai, post-apocalyptic. It's a great show, by the way. Let me go to Maurice out of North Philly, who's calling in for a reality check. Maurice?
Hey, Charles. How's everything?
Okay, what's happening?
All right, you had a great job on yesterday, Kevin Jenkins. You did a wonderful job.
I can't hear you, man, but
you said Kevin Jenkins did a wonderful job yesterday, pinpointing things. I want to say something to you, Charles. You talk about getting rid of things in Philly by voting, and I believe in voting. One of the problems we have, we don't have an agenda. Even if we vote, we don't have an agenda, who we want and what we want. Mm-hmm. And as a caller, you callers talk about reparations. I know you probably read H.R. 40 bill. That bill is lacking a lot of things, Charles. We have to be clear on what we're asking for and what people we're asking for the reparations for. There are two groups of people in America that are entitled to reparations. One is the black Native Americans. Two are the African descendants of enslaved people. That have to be clear. They are the two nations. When you read H.R. 40 and you read any reparation bill, there are three governments that owe the descendant of enslaved people reparations. That bill only meant H.R. 40 and other leaders only mentioned one group, and that's the United States government. But we cannot leave France out and Spain out, who played a part in America through the 1800s, whether it's the Spanish-American War or the Quasi War. Both of them colonized the African descendants in the South. They have to be part of that reparation bill. As we move forward in addressing the reparation bill, we have to be clear on what we're asking for. Not just income, but residual income over years. Why? Because they stole all our intellectual property. They are in control of. So we must get residual income every year. Mm-hmm. Number two, we must talk about, in the reparation bill, education and taxation on housing. If we look at the four prongs of America, when we go back to the war that we're still fighting today at the 1865, after the Civil War, 1863, we still fight for education. We still fighting for land and wealth. We still fighting for housing. They are the prongs of America that we haven't addressed correctly. So we have to, like Martin Luther King said, we have to get the language right in our fight and in our argument, so we can articulate what we want and how we want it. We have yet to do that. Mm-hmm. And because we have yet to come up with an economic agenda or any agenda, we're spinning our wheels. Mm-hmm. So we cannot root out corruption. It don't matter if it's black people or white people, whoever the people are, because we don't go to the table with an agenda with a clear-cut vision and with a mission statement of what we want. So my question to you, sir, how do we move forward?
Yeah. It's a loaded question right now and I'm running out of time. I want to talk about it and answer it more tomorrow, Maurice. I think you made some good points already to kick that off, because I'm going to actually move from Maurice and to Ron in North Philly. Maurice, thanks for that question. We'll talk about it more tomorrow because it's a lot to cover there. Ron, go ahead.
Hey, Charles, I just want to say thank you for last week. There's a lot going on with the seniors. I had made mention on your program. You had a lady on there that was talking about giving out fans and air conditioning. It's very helpful to our seniors. It's a lot of things that is going on, and seniors are really being, acknowledged with Oak Street Help and all that. I want to thank you for being one of those on your program to make mention of helping our seniors. Thank you very much. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, every little bit positive that you give can make a difference. So thank you, Charles. Hope to see y'all. Hope to see you on the 26th. And come out on this Friday. We're going to be at the senior place up in Germantown. And let WURD is love. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate that, and putting out the word about WURD doing its Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. We definitely have that coming up this Friday, and that will be at the West Oak Lane Senior Center, 7210 Ogons Avenue, and you get concert tickets. There's special guests who are going to be there. Also, Tiffany Bacon, she's hosting. She's the WURD personality and also our programming director on site. And that's part of our Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. So we're covering Northwest, South Philly, West Oak Lane, Mantua. So we're going to be at the West Oak Lane Senior Center, 7210 Ogons Avenue this Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And then we got Founders Day next Thursday. That will be happening at 1800 Wharton Street in South Philly. So definitely looking forward to that. That will be at the site of the very first medical center that was opened up by our very own Dr. Lomax, the founder of WURD. So, I'll be out there. I will be live broadcasting from Wharton Street, from 1800 Wharton Street. More information is at wordradio.com. To learn more about that, will be around 11 a.m. Yeah, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is we're going to be doing kind of the special. I'll be out there from 10 a.m., of course, all the way to 1 p.m. We're going to be having special conversations. There's going to be a dedication that's happening, a street naming ceremony for Dr. Lomax. That's happening from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We start, of course, broadcasting Reality Check Live. We'll have a conversation, too. We're going to have something of an WURD conversation that we're planning for you exclusively here on WURD. So definitely looking forward to that and seeing everyone there. But please stay safe. Want you all to mask up. And if you're planning on going next week to Founders Day, get vaccinated if you haven't gotten vaccinated already. Speaking of vaccines, there was an announcement that just came out. The government will be authorizing the administration, Biden administration, announcing that they will be doing third vaccine booster shots, pending FDA and CDC approval. But it looks like we will be having to do very soon third vaccine booster shots, even for those who are fully vaccinated. But because we got so many of these unvaccinated folks out there, you know what's happening? It's making the infection worse. It's making it mutate because we don't have enough people vaccinated. So now, folks who are vaccinated, we've got to get a booster shot to add an extra layer of protection against the mutations. You know, the more and more people want to keep going with this, not getting vaccinated, the worse the pandemic gets. We keep saying this, like, you know, two real big major points here. One, you get vaccinated, it keeps you from getting hospitalized and dying. Very simple. If you don't want to get hospitalized, you don't want to die, you really got to get vaccinated. And you know, and virtually now it's to the point where like nearly all, with the exception of a very small, like maybe 1%, but virtually everyone who's going to the hospitals now and who's dying from COVID-19 are people who are not vaccinated. It's as simple as that. And then we're seeing story after story after story after news headline of people dying from COVID. I just had a family member who in Florida recently got COVID-19, refused to get vaccinated. This is from my in-laws on my in-laws side. And, you know, then they're crying on the phone, you know, with my mother-in-law talking about, you know, I should have listened, I should have got vaccinated, you know, but was hard-headed for all that time. Now they're got COVID and they're sitting in the house. The hospitals are filled up, you can't get in. The husband and the kids, everyone's got COVID-19, the whole house, you know, but they were like, don't want to get vaccinated. It's like, you know, we're seeing story after story of that, of people suddenly at the last minute, they get it, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I should have got it. I should have got the vaccine. Yeah, you should have. And so it's terrible. It's really heartbreaking and heart-wrenching to watch something so simple that could be taken care of. And now it's becoming a threat because we got so many people still unvaccinated. It's becoming a big existential threat. These mutations like the Delta variant and other variants. There's another variant that we're getting news of that's coming out of Colombia that's hitting Florida that we're told is probably worse than Delta variant. And you know why? It's simple. It's very simple, because we just have still half the population is not vaccinated. Half the population is not vaccinated. So the variants, the mutations are getting worse. I don't know how else to talk about this. And actually starting next week, each Monday at noon, we're going to be having hour-long Vax Chat conversations to get this through, to have all the information laid out. Have your questions and your comments, any questions you have, even those of you who aren't vaccinated and you aren't vaccinated because you're getting all this information, starting this Monday, coming up on Reality Check exclusively at 12 noon to 1 p.m., we're going to have weekly Vax Chats. It's that important because it's a life and death matter now. It's been a life and death matter, but it's getting really serious. Dr. Nicolette Lewis-Saint will be joining us for the next 2 weeks for an hour. Phone lines will be wide open every Monday from noon to 1 p.m. on Reality Check to have that conversation. All right, that wraps this very special Wednesday session and edition of Reality Check. I'm sorry, I got to get off here. We got to go to the source. We're with the Black Women's Leadership Council today? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yes.
But it is the source. It is Black Women's Leadership Council coming up next on the source on WURD. Thank you to Eric Nixon. Wonderful job. And everyone out there, I want you to stay sharp, stay smart, but more importantly, stay safe. I'm Charles Ellison. And God willing, tomorrow, Wednesday, 10 a.m. sharp, I will see you. I'm sorry, no, Thursday, 10 a.m. sharp. I'm sorry about that. Lost my days. I'll see you here live on WURD. Take care, everyone.